streaming. Okay, good morning everyone. Thanks for coming to my raw vegan SOS-free class. My name is Eve Zeiler and I work at the True North Health Foundation as a researcher usually, but I'm also a raw vegan, so since 5 years now. And I like preparing food, I like to eat food, and so I want to share it with you. And yeah, if you have any questions today, we're gonna make like really simple, a simple dish. So we were just talking. So usually my day looks like I have one fruit meal, really simple for breakfast. When I start eating, I like to keep it small. My eating window like 6 hours maybe. So I'll have my fruit meal, and then later I have a salad with a high-calorie dressing. So today we're gonna make a high-calorie dressing, which you also could call a hummus, maybe something like a little bit thicker. So I have sprouted lentils, but you could also, for hummus, for example, you would use sprouted chickpeas. So you wouldn't use the chickpeas cooked, you can sprout them as well. So I have sprouted green lentils here. They're really easy to sprout. I will talk about that. And then I have sunflower seeds. I have some flax seeds, some spices, like any spice you like. I have like just dried chili here. And then just whole vegetables. That's pretty much it what we have. Yeah, so sprouting. Maybe we go over the sprouting part. So why do I sprout?
What did you say those are?
Green lentils.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, those are lentils. These here I soaked the day before yesterday night. I soaked them in water. And
what are they?
those are also green lentils. Like I like to soak my nuts and seeds as well in water, like the sunflower seeds. So those, for example, I'll show you. So those I soaked yesterday night. Those are sunflower seeds. I soaked them yesterday night in water. And you see how dirty that water is actually? See, I want to show it to you. Maybe they have it shown. Wait a second. I'll be back. Sorry about that, but I want to show you what happens if you soak your seeds. So what you need for soaking seeds is just a mason jar, pretty much. And then I like to have these lids. You get them from Amazon. Anything I use here are food items. If you send me an email, I can also send you a list of all the things that I use usually. So you need a mason jar, and I like to use these sprouting lids. So they have a band like the mason jars, but instead of the lid, it has a strainer. Of course, you can also use a strainer for that. But those are pretty handy, especially if you want to sprout something. Then these are really handy. So those are soaked in water overnight, sunflower seeds. And what happens to the water just looks like that. And who wants to drink this?
Well, is it the nutrients from the sunflower seeds, or is it gum?
Well, just don't overthink it too much. But if you see that, do you want to drink it? Not really, right? I mean, just consciously, like, this is yucky.
Put it on your plants.
No, yeah, you can put it on the plants. That's right. Maybe it will repel the bugs too, because so what happens? These seeds, they want to preserve themselves to keep themselves for a longer time, for like sometimes millions of years, right? So if they don't get any water on them, they have this like natural preservatives, lectins or phytic acid. So they're actually enzyme inhibitors, and they that's what they use to keep themselves fresh and repel any bacteria and things like that. So, but those substances are actually not good for our digestive systems because we have lots of bacteria and microorganisms in our digestive tract. So what happens if you soak them in water? Those substances get washed away, and you also activate the seeds. So the enzymes get active, and you also create more volume. So I used half a cup yesterday, Well, we have a little bit more, I guess, not too much. But yeah, so that's why I soak them in water, I dump the water, and then I'll also wash them a couple of times until the water is clear, pretty much. Yeah, nobody wants to drink this, right? Yeah, and just wash them with water a couple of times. And these sprouting nets are just really handy because you just can wash this pretty well. And then I'll just dump this. I'm not gonna drink it. Now it doesn't really have nutrients. I don't know, maybe it has some minerals in there, but most of the nutrients are still in the seed. Just the outside. But yeah, that's why I like to sprout my seeds. Not so much with hemp seeds. The whole hemp seeds, they already come without the hull, so they're fine.
Say that again?
Like hemp seeds, I don't soak hemp seeds or something like that. They are hulled already, so they don't have that much. And then sometimes pistachios I wouldn't soak. I mean, you'll see it. If you soak it in water, the water is really brown and doesn't.
What about walnuts?
Walnuts, I do walnuts too.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other benefits is you create more volume, so you don't overeat too much on nuts and seeds. So I don't usually like to overeat on nuts and seeds. I have flax seeds here too, and I also wouldn't wash those. I just soak them in water. I think that's fine for those seeds. I have here
flax seeds, you said?
flax seeds. Mm-hmm.
So they're very they're normally very gelatinous.
Yeah, they're really gelatinous. I don't think that's a good thing. I mean, I don't think you need to wash this off.
No.
I always like to eat very intuitively. So if I do something and then I don't really feel like drinking this, I'm not going to drink it. It doesn't matter if someone tells me that this is healthy or not. I just listen to my conscious, to my intuition. Really.
Are those flax seeds that you buy at the health food store, do they say, for sure don't get roasted or anything like
Yeah,
that?
those are raw.
Those are just straight in the bins,
Yeah, raw flax seeds.
raw.
Mhm.
They're raw.
Yeah, usually those nuts and seeds I buy online usually, and then in bulk. It's also cheaper. So I soaked actually yesterday a quarter cup of these flax seeds. But with the amount, I'm not really strict with the amount. I'm just using really like whatever really. I mean, you could use less or more. You could also skip the flax seeds. You don't have to use the flax seeds, but it makes it a little bit thicker and creamier, I think.
It looks kind of gelatinous.
Yeah, it is. It does. If you soak flax seeds in water, they get like really slimy, gelatinous, and that's really good for thickening up things. You can make even a pudding. Flax seeds have a little bit more like their own flavor. If you use chia seeds, they have much less flavor, and you can.
They get so, chia seeds get so boogery.
Yeah, but the flax seeds as well. They have the same. Yeah. But chia seeds have less flavor, and you get chia seeds in black and white. Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, sure.
How do you know when to use them whole or ground?
The flax seeds, I like to ground them myself if I want to use them ground, because if you expose their fats to oxygen, then the fats are prone to oxidation. So I don't really like to keep them too long ground up. So I always like to do it fresh. And here in the kitchen, they also do it fresh. They just have the whole flax seeds. You can grind it up very quick in the blender dry. Just grind them and then keep them in a jar in the fridge. Otherwise, you buy them ground up in the store, and then you don't know how old that is, or.
And you do your salads usually with them whole?
Hmm?
You usually do the salads with them whole and not ground?
Well, actually ground, because I'm blending it here now. So I soaked it in water before I grind it. You can also grind it before soaking in water, but I will just mix it all up, then it'll be pretty much ground.
You can grind on a coffee grinder too, I think.
Yeah, you could do that.
And that's overnight, right?
This, yeah, I soaked overnight, but actually with chia and flax seeds, you don't really need to overnight. It's fine if you soak it like 30 minutes. they'll be softer. I just do it so they're a little bit activated and softer. Yeah, that's why I pretty much do it. But sometimes I would use those seeds unsoaked, just straight. But yeah, I'm not so strict with those. I'm more stricter with nuts and like sunflower seeds, something like that. Hello. I mean, it's just you can just try it out, you know, and then see however you feel like. Maybe you don't feel any ill effects if you don't soak your nuts and seeds. I mean, some people don't soak the nuts and seeds. I have still some water in here.
Isn't it harder for them to digest if they aren't chewed? That,
If they are what?
not chewed, you don't chew them.
You don't
They're not
choose
so-
it.
Oh yeah. You always have to chew them properly. Everything really. People say you have to combine your food because you get gas if you don't combine it right. But I don't really have gas. I think the bigger problem is actually not chewing your food properly because you have these big raw bits of food in your digestive tract and you can't digest that anymore. So it will come out as it is. And you won't digest it. So you actually lose the nutrients. So it doesn't really make sense to eat fast and not chew your food because you're not gonna use it. It'll only create problems. Yeah. So I'm not a proponent of food combination. If it does taste good to you, then it's fine combination to me. So. But of course, if it makes you problems, you think it makes you problems, then you can try something else. But I should rather just still enjoy my food. I'm not like so strict with it. You know? I don't make a huge science about it because every animal just eats. You know, they know how to eat, so we should also know how to eat, like naturally. I just keep it really natural and raw. Yeah, and of course, you don't really have to process the foods here. You can just eat anything as it is. Your body doesn't really mind. Your body just wants the nutrients. Yeah. Take this out so we can use this for putting the hummus in. And then, yeah, anything you can put in your hummus. Like, I like to put celery always. Celery gives a lot of good flavor if you don't use any salt. So I always put lots of celery in. I have maybe like 4 or 5 stalks of celery. But it's really up to you how much you want to add. I mean, the more vegetables you add in here, the less creamy you will be, more like fibers and more vegetables, but it's really up to you. And I like to use red bell peppers or yellow bell peppers. I'm going to use red bell peppers today. Those are, yeah, sure.
Any such thing as dried celery powder?
Celery powder?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can use that.
A bit of saltiness. You can use that if you just.
I also make my own celery powder. Yeah, you can just dry the celery, like cut it in little pieces, dry it, and then blend it dry in your blender.
Yeah.
And then you have your celery powder.
Does it actually taste salty?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just a question, so that was a half a cup of lentils? Or was that flax seeds that you just put in?
I put a 1/4 cup of soaked flax seeds.
Okay.
And then I put a 1/2 cup of sunflower seeds.
You're going to be adding the lentils or no?
Yeah, I'm gonna, yes. And then I put 5 stalks of celery. And I'm gonna put 2 red bell peppers, 2 small red bell peppers. But you don't have to be like really strict. You can just mix it up a little bit differently. It's really up to your taste. And instead of red bell peppers, you could use tomatoes. Tomatoes have a little bit more liquid, so
And Eve, as far as the texture, because you did use the 5 stalks of celery, it doesn't get stringy, the hummus?
no.
Okay.
We're gonna just blend it all up really well. Then yeah, I'm the lentils. So the same thing. So you soak it in water overnight. Same thing with like those seeds. Soak it in water overnight, and then you dump the water. You rinse it, and then but they take a little bit longer. The sunflower seeds I just use from overnight soaking. The lentils I would sprout a little bit longer. So if you wash them and rinse them, then you would put them upside down. I also like to use like a plate like this. So they're a little bit tilted, so a little bit air comes in here. It's not like if you leave it like that, then they'll spoil because they don't have any air circulation. Like if you leave it like flat on the plate, they will definitely spoil. But you have to have them a little bit tilted on a plate or something. I mean, you could also buy fancy sprouting racks if you want to, but I just use a plate and I keep them tilted like this. And then you just use them whenever you think the sprouts are big enough, but you also have to rinse them at least twice a day. So at least twice a day you have to wash them, because otherwise they can spoil, and you don't want to have bacterial mold growing in here. And also they need some moisture. They need to have some moisture. That's the other reason why you need to rinse them twice a day. And then you just keep them like that.
Do you put them in dark or do you keep them in
No.
light? It doesn't matter?
Not in direct sunlight maybe, but I'll just
on
on the counter. And then yeah, they're actually 1 day old now, but I would definitely keep them a little bit longer. So now only sprouted 1 cup, which is already a lot. Maybe I would have put only half a cup. One cup will definitely fill up the jar like really, really tight if they are ready to eat. So you don't want to put too many in. So half a cup is already enough for. This is probably, I just got this here from the kitchen actually. They had it already finished, sprouted. So that might be half a cup. That's probably half a cup of lentils, and then it gets a lot of bulk. Maybe it's a little bit more than half a cup even.
So how many days do you need to soak the lentils?
Like maybe those will be ready tomorrow, I would say, and so they'll 2 days. But it really also depends on your temperature, on your lentils. Maybe some lentils take a little longer, but you just wash them every day. At least you have to wash them twice a day.
But in terms of soaking them, you're only soaking them for a short while before you
Yeah,
start
only
sprouting.
for 1 night. For 8 hours, you
Yeah.
soak them. And then you rinse them, wash them, and keep them drained. You always keep them drained while they sprout. Otherwise, they'll be too soggy, they'll drown. I think this here is, I can't even look it up, how much this is. Oh, it's 1 quart. Yeah, that's 1 quart.
So any particular reason why you're using peppers instead of tomatoes, for example?
Oh, you could use tomatoes. Yeah, I just said that. Yeah, you can use, instead of red bell peppers, you can use tomatoes or any other kind of vegetables, maybe.
Okay. So you're not in the camp that says that nightshade vegetables are not so good.
Well, if they're not good for you, I can decide it for every individual. But I like them. I do eat them a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Dr. Goldhammer explains why nightshades are bad for some people and how they sometimes have to be fixed.
Oh, is it? What did he say?
I forgot what he said, but I remember listening to it. It was very technical.
So it can be fixed?
Yeah, it can be fixed.
Yeah, maybe people put a lot of burden on their bodies and then they can't really digest natural foods anymore. I have a friend, she doesn't even tolerate any little bit of raw anymore. She's the same age than me, a medical doctor. But she's really sick, takes a lot of medication. One time she was even in a wheelchair for a while because she was so sick, overweight, and she can't tolerate any raw food. And then she would say, raw food is not good for me, you know? So, but maybe you have to fix some other issues and then you can tolerate it again. Yeah, that's a good point. So yeah, I will just add the sprouted lentils. You can, I mean, this is 1 quart of sprouted lentils. There probably was a little bit more than a cup, half a cup, maybe 3/4 of a cup.
You say you got these from the kitchen, by the way?
Yeah.
So are they sprouting stuff here too also?
Yeah, you have that in the, they had it in the salad bar, sprouted lentils. You can eat them like they are. They're pretty delicious actually, as they are too. Yeah, really, you don't really need the blender. When I travel, I just get to the farmer's market or grocery stores and I'll get this and I'll eat it like it is. Or I can eat this like it is. Or I can also eat zucchini like it is. And you don't have to prepare anything. That makes it really simple to be compliant on this diet because you find this everywhere. I mean, I did so many road trips through New Mexico and Texas and all kinds of areas. You always find fresh vegetables and I'll eat it.
Right,
And then
but
the
they're
nuts
not
and
giving
seeds you
you
can
any
just load in.
calories. They're not really giving you any calories.
No, but fruits. So calories come from either fruits or nuts and seeds. I eat a lot of fruits. And they keep really well in the car, so you buy it one time and then you have it, like when you travel. Of course, when you're not having a car, then but fruits you find fruits also in any grocery store. And then nuts and seeds you can always load up before you travel. You just load up on nuts and seeds, and you can also take a mason jar and sprouting it if you want to sprout them. But like Brazil nuts and pistachios, I would not necessarily sprout, so I would just take those while I travel, and then I don't have to sprout them or soak them in water, so I'll just eat them. And avocados have high calorie, so I'll eat that. Yeah, but this has high calories too, though. The flax seeds, the sunflower seeds, and then this is really high in protein, the lentils. So I'm just gonna add those, and I mean, you can add as many as you want according to your tastes. So maybe I'll just use half a quart of, or maybe like, it probably was like not this amount, probably half a cup of dry lentils sprouted. But don't use all of it, I think. But I'm not so strict with the amounts because every day is different and it will taste good no matter what, really. Probably, hopefully.
Do you use seaweed?
I eat seaweed a lot, yeah.
Like what kind?
Any kind, like dulse, alaria. I eat sea lettuce. I buy whole leaves from Maine. So if you send me an email, I actually sent you an email already with all the food items that I get online. And then I also buy nori sheets. So sometimes I would make a salad and I put it in a nori sheet and wrap it up and eat it like a burrito or a taco. Yeah, so I eat lots of seaweed too.
You use dulse?
Dulse, yes. Yeah, I like dulse.
Do you ever put seaweed in one of these like blended things? It seems like it might make it more savory, but I don't know.
You definitely could put seaweed in here. It gives a more flavor. But I do like, since seaweed has a specific taste, it's like fishy a little bit too. I don't really want to have it all fishy. I just want to have like little bits of fishiness in my salad. But it's like really up to your taste. If you like to blend it, I mean, there are lots of people that like to blend it. Sometimes I would do it too, once in a while, to have a seaweed spread. But yeah, I like to have them also whole. And then seaweed is also great for traveling, seaweed has a lot of protein too. Minerals, lots of minerals, and while you travel, sometimes I don't know, I'll just use it like, I eat it sometimes like chips. But just be careful if you have high blood pressure. It has more salt, so yeah, that's the only, but you also can wash your seaweed or the nori sheets. You can also just eat them like chips. and they have much less salt. Yeah, and then for if you use nuts and seeds or sprouted lentils, I always need some acidity. So that's really important, I think, for a dressing as well. Some kind of acidity gives a lot of flavor. We don't use any salt. You can use vinegar, of course. I like to use lemons, fresh lemons. Don't use the packaged lemons, the lemon juice in the packages. You know, it's not that hard. You just have to have a nice citrus juicer. And this citrus juicer is not good anymore. I'm not gonna use this here. Yeah, you just have to have a nice citrus juicer. If you don't have a citrus juicer, you don't have to have a citrus juicer. You can just squeeze it too. And then that's how my mom always does it, with a spoon, like this.
So you're making an alternative hummus here? Is that what
Yeah, it's kind of like an alternative instead of chickpeas, but you can also sprout chickpeas. Just chickpeas are a little bit more difficult to sprout. Also, if you get it in the store, sometimes they heat treat it, so they won't sprout and then they spoil. Sometimes you really need to get your food items online where they really specifically say this is for sprouting. It will definitely sprout. And if it's not sprouting, you just say it didn't sprout, I'll complain, and then I'll get my money back, something like that. Yeah, you could use chickpeas, but I don't sprout any beans because they have too many lectins. So they're still kind of toxic, like kidney beans. I don't sprout them, but you could sprout mung beans, yeah, any kind of lentils. If they are whole, the split lentils, they won't sprout. You could use whole, the peas. They need to be whole, not split peas. So.
What's the purpose of them sprouting? Maybe I missed that, but.
Oh, the purpose? Well, you don't have to cook them then. So you make them edible. Because the dried seed, the dried lentil, if it's not edible in its natural, unprocessed state, I won't eat it. I'm not gonna use rice, make a flour, process it, and then eat it. You know, not cook it. It's not only about not cooking it, it's just about eating it whole and unprocessed in its natural state. If it's not edible, like a seed, the lentils, they're not edible, or chickpeas, if they're dry, they're not edible. So you have to make them somehow edible as a whole food. It's still a whole food, it's just sprouted whole food. So, and that makes it edible. It's soft. You can eat it as it is.
So it makes it softer by sprouting? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it makes it soft and edible. And then it also gets rid of the lectins, all the same substances actually that are on the sunflower seeds or nuts and seeds.
When they come off the bush, aren't they edible?
Yeah, they're edible then. Yeah, then if they're just fresh from the bush, yeah, you can eat them then too. Mm-hmm.
They're really good that way.
Yeah, they're even better actually. But once they're dry, you have to bring life to them again. Yes?
Doesn't sprouting them though also increase the nutrition of the seed itself?
Yeah, it creates different amino acids, sometimes even more amino acids, and it will also create lots of vitamin C. They have much more vitamin C now, and fiber, I think. Yeah, they definitely changed the chemistry, and lots of active enzymes. So they're super active now, and they help in digestion if you have the right microbiome to digest that.
Those lemons smell amazing.
Do you want this here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you sprout sunflower seeds? That's what no, that's lentils.
Oh,
They have them at markets and they're really yummy.
I soaked the sunflower
No,
seeds.
sprout.
Mhm.
That
Yeah,
you sprout.
the greens, you mean?
Those are, the sunflower seeds are sprouted in there?
They're only soaked for one night.
Yeah.
They're not really sprouted. If you want to have the greens of sunflower, then you have to have them with the hull.
Oh,
Then they will also kind of sprout, but they're just a little bit damaged.
okay.
If they have the shell around them, the hull,
They're delicious.
Yeah, then they develop really beautiful greens. Yeah, they're really good too, and they're very nutritious. Yeah, the thing is, if you just squeeze the lemons, you have lots of seeds in here. I just use 2 lemons because with this amount, I want to have more acidity. But it's really up to you if you want to use less or more. Yeah, that's why I don't squeeze it right in here because we have lots of seeds in here. So with my sprouting light, I just kind of pour the lemon juice in here right now, like this. Yeah, you don't want to have the seeds in here. Yeah, but you can have like a really fancy citrus juicer like this here, and then it's really quick. Or like a hand press, and it doesn't really it's not much effort. It's just, you just have to get used to it. That's all it takes really. It's not much different than putting something in the microwave, you know? And everything smells so good, right? And it's also so clean. This food is really clean. You don't need a lot of soap to rinse it. Just water usually I use. So I think we have everything in there, unless you want to add some spices. So I have some chili here. You can add like whatever you really want. If you like garlic, if you like scallion, something. I kind of like chili, so maybe I'll make it a little bit spicy. But I usually keep it really simple. And then you can add some fresh herbs, like I have basil today here. But parsley or cilantro you can add. I don't like to, well, you could blend it all in, then it makes it a little more green. But you can also chop the herbs like later. We're just gonna blend it in. Blend it up a little bit. I kept it really simple here, so whatever favorite spices or herbs you like, you can of course add, but this is kind of the base. Yeah, if you have a temper, then you can temp it down. Sometimes this blender, I don't have a temper like here, but you can also use a celery temper. But I don't think I need this today. Maybe. You can also play with the velocity a little bit. Celery temper, or unless you have the right temper for the blender, because you might think, oh, I can just go in with a spoon, but it's really dangerous. So, but the celery temper, if you hit the blades, it's fine. Celery temper.
How long does that keep in the fridge?
This, I would keep it, I will keep probably 3 days at least, but of course the flavor might change. And it's always good to have it fresh, but it will definitely keep for 2 days. And it's not a lot of work.
Any idea what the fat content is?
The fat content of this?
Yes.
You can actually calculate it. Do you know the app Chronometer? I really recommend this app. Chronometer.com. It's web-based and it also has an app that you can download on your phone, and then you can create actually recipes. They have it's free actually. It's also free to create the recipes. So you put all the ingredients in, and then it'll give you. Then you say one serving is like a quarter of that recipe, and that'll give you the nutrition facts for that food, for that recipe. But I don't really know how much fat is in here. So the only fat would come from the sunflower seeds, which I have half a cup in here, and the flax seeds, which is a quarter cup. So it doesn't have a lot of fat. The lentils, they don't have a lot of fat. No. Anything else is vegetables really. So it's only it's pretty thick because of the flax seeds. The flax seeds make it a little bit thicker. But you don't have to add the flax seeds. You can just use the
You had
sunflower
no
seed.
water, no water added.
No water, no. I never use any water for my dressings. Very, very rarely. Because it takes away the flavor. So when I want to have it a little more liquid, I like to use more vegetables with water content, like tomatoes, red bell pepper, celery. A little bit has water, and actually has a lot of water, but it also gives a lot of fiber. And what else? Cucumber. You could add cucumber. Yeah, so that's your hummus, and I'll put it in a mason jar, and then you can put it in the fridge. You can bring it to friends or when you travel, and then you can, when you travel, like it'll keep for 1 day. I mean, if you don't have a cooler, if you have a cooler, you can keep it for 2 days maybe, and then you can go to the store, buy red bell pepper or yellow, like a bell pepper, and just cut it open, or you don't even have to cut it open. I mean, you don't even have to have a knife, really. And then you can have a spoon, put it in, and just eat it like that. It's really simple.
You get to taste it?
Yeah.
Makes me hungry.
So you're gonna use that as a salad dressing then later, is that it?
Yeah, so you can use it however you want it. I mean, you can even eat it like a thick soup or something, or like.
I mean, you can use it as a dip.
Yeah, you can use it as a dip. You can just dip it.
Would you put on potatoes, like a baked potato? Yes.
Yeah, if you don't keep it 100% raw, then yeah. Definitely, yeah, you can do whatever you want to do with it. I just give you ideas. Yesterday I ate a salad. I just made a salad and just used it as a thick dressing. And it's really high calorie, like high protein dressing, pretty much. You can eat it with zucchini bread. I'm making zucchini bread in 1 second.
You're making zucchini bread now?
Yeah, I'm making zucchini bread right now. Look here. There you go. You have your zucchini bread.
Raw zucchini bread.
And then, well, you're laughing though, but it actually tastes really good if you have like this on top, you know, and then maybe a tomato on top.
If
Oh,
you
a
had,
zucchini sandwich.
That's right.
There we go.
if you had used tomatoes, the color would change and would it be more runny?
It will be more runny, yeah. It depends really, but you could use more flax seeds or
Just kind of.
yeah. You can maybe add like just 1 tomato instead of 2 red bell peppers. I use 2 red bell peppers, which also have water. So
How much basil would you put in a quart?
How much
many
basil?
leaves? And how
Yeah, we can add some basil.
No, I'm just saying if you were, I like basil, I
Mhm.
love basil, so
How much?
would you
Actually,
add
how
to
much
it?
you would prefer?
Yeah.
I like to have a lot.
Yeah,
I would really use for this amount. I would just use two
okay.
like a lot. However you want to have it. I like to use a lot. I don't use the strings of the basil. Like they're a little bit tough. So, but
Would you eat that whole jar in a day?
no, I would probably eat maybe a third of that, maybe. If I feel like it, I would also eat half of it. I don't think I would ever eat all of it. It might be a little too much.
Make that into a soup, how much, what would you add to liquefy it more?
To liquefy more tomatoes. Yeah, you could make a soup out of that
Or
too.
cucumber, right?
Cucumber, yeah. Cucumber too. I like to either use, I don't know why, but it's just maybe it's just me personally. I like to either use tomatoes and red peppers. I could also mix them together, or cucumber. I kind of feel like red pepper and cucumber is kind of seems odd to me, but you can try it definitely. Maybe I'll eat it for you here. I mean, you can mix the.
That's the easy way, and then it doesn't, yeah, that's a good idea.
You can mix this in here. I don't know if everyone likes basil, but you can also just have it on the side and then put it on top. And I'm just gonna try it for you here. This is my zucchini bread with hummus. That's pretty good. Maybe even more acidity, huh? I put two lemons in there, but it feels like it could get some more acidity, but it's pretty simple. You can add some other herbs and spices too.
If you were doing soup,
It's not
would
even
you
spicy.
warm it up just a little bit, or eat it as a cold soup? Like if you had just like a quarter cup of it for soup. Can it be warmed, I guess is my question.
Oh, of course you can warm it up, yeah. Well, you can do it whatever you want to do with it. I mean, it's just vegetables. Yeah.
And you did not put any zucchini in that dressing?
No.
No. No, that's the bread.
Yeah, just eat it as is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's not really spicy. Maybe I should have put more spices in, but
It must be good, you keep on eating.
You're making us hungry.
well,
She's trying to decide what it's missing.
well, I kept it really simple. I think I would put some more lemon maybe in, because lemon gives more flavor. It doesn't really taste very acidic, which is surprising. But that's what happens. Every lemon is different.
Yeah, but there were only 2 small lemons for a huge, like a really huge mixture.
Yeah, that's right. But 2 lemons is usually it's quite a lot. But it really depends on. That's why you can't really have like a strict recipe. You just have to adjust to it too, because every ingredient is different. But it's not bad. I mean, it's tasty. But I just give you the base, and then you can the flavor. I mean, you can add some other spices, more lemon or anything. Yeah, if you want to try it, I think we're pretty much done with that. And
Thank you.
thank you. Who's water fasting? Okay.
Done. Put your hand up.
So if anyone else wants to try it, can try
Who's
it.
water
If
fast?
any other questions, we still have 15 minutes actually.
I don't wanna touch it, so.